So, Loki, my kitty, wants to be included. I have taken a screenshot of your questions as it will not let me look at them at the same time. So it's all a learning curve for all of us. So let's get started. The first question is not really a question. It says, from Tim, 1 week ago, amazing content, my guy. I don't really think I sound like a guy, but why don't you let me know? I could sound like a lot of things. I could sound like a guy if I really wanted to. You know what I mean? So there's that. Then the second question from Adam. He says, okay, I'll start. If you had to choose, ... Drop Dead Fred or Breakfast at Tiffany's, which would you never see again? That's a truly sad question. I don't know why I wouldn't be able to see either again, but I guess if I had to choose, I would give up Breakfast at Tiffany's. I just would. And it doesn't ask me why, so I guess I don't have to explain. On to the next several questions from Anonymous Hipster. And it's highlighted somehow. I don't know how that happened. Hopefully someone will tell me how I can fix that. Also, I had to search for the comments. Apparently the only way I could see the comments was to go through my connection to the video. I tried it independently and could not see them. So if anybody knows how to change that before I figure it out, please let me know. So, Anonymous Hipster wants to know, the first question, what would you say is the hardest thing you've ever had to teach yourself? How to forgive myself and other people. That was probably the hardest thing. I had to teach myself a lot of hard things. Everything that I know pretty much past 8th grade I've had to teach myself. So there's that. Let's not, yeah. And so the second one, you give an example of a successful attempt at asking the universe for something. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it, right? I did. I asked the universe to help me heal. And it wasn't easy. And it still isn't easy, but it's getting easier. It's like flexing a muscle. The more you practice, the better it gets. What is my favorite zodiac sign and why? So a two-parter. Mind my eyebrows. We're on lockdown and no makeup. Figure I'll just do this. Just me. And you either dig it or you don't. So, what's my favorite zodiac sign? I would say I'm more drawn to the fire signs. Maybe that's because I'm a fire sign and they help feed the fire. Which, if you're a fire sign, you know that you love the fire. Even when it's out of control, even when it's burning down your life, you still love the fire. Because you know that when it's over, something new is going to happen. And the fire is awfully exciting too. So, I guess it answers both questions. If I had to pick, I would say, I'm going to pick I don't have a favorite. I like all the fire signs. I like all of them, all of the signs, not just the fire signs. But I think that I relate easiest to fire signs. They just get me. I think I just get them. Do I believe in nature or nurture? Which one and why? Actually, I believe in both. I try to keep things logical, even though from the outside looking at me and listening to me, it may not seem logical, but to me it is, because there is a method to my madness. And yes, I am quite mad, but not in the technical sense. So, I believe that both happen. You have to have both. You have to have a duality in everything for things to exist. And I think that everything pretty much is binary. It's either under the heading of joy or pain. And then you start there, things fall into place. Some things are painful because they have to be, and some things aren't. And as human beings, we have a tendency to run away from things that are scary because everything's under joy or pain. So, would you say that you could pick up on an evil person's energy? Wow. I don't think people are 100% evil, even if they want to be. I think that you can never extinguish the duality. It all comes back to duality. I think people have bad intentions, but it's all under the headings of joy and pain. Some people live in a constant state of pain with maybe a respite from perceived joy, and sometimes that perceived joy is hurting other people because they get a kick out of it, because that's the way their brain is wired. I think that if we go with the rules, and I did make this up, I heard it from somewhere, I don't even remember, I just gather knowledge for the most part. Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary? And we're not always going to be able to do these things. I mean, it's like flexing a muscle, and sometimes our muscles get really tired. And sometimes when we have an injury to our muscle may revert back to that issue or situation. A little twing here and there, a little something to remind you that it was injured. And then we have to keep upping our game. Sometimes we revert back to what I call type, the lessons that we learned that were maladaptive, that aren't good for us. Then we have to figure out where we want to go from there with it. So if I could say that if someone was evil, let's just say that they're mostly insidious. They're mostly out to do harm. Yes, I think I can. I think that it has a lot to do with body language, tonality, what is and isn't said, when it isn't said. I think that adversity helps you identify the things that you don't want because you're actively trying to not deal with those things. So all the time I'm like, oh, that person just gives me a bad vibe. And I don't know why, really. I mean, we could sit and parse that out all day. Psychological reasons, sensitivity, wisdom. But when it's all said and done, you just have to learn to trust your instincts. Because I've been in a lot of situations where I didn't trust my instincts, and then I found out later that I should have. And if you're wrong, you can always apologize later. And if people don't understand that you felt comfortable or weirded out in that moment, then maybe they're not the people to have in your life anyway. So there's that question. And then, who's the scariest person you've ever encountered and why? I think the scariest person I've ever encountered was me. It's really hard growing up the way that I did. And we won't really get into all that right now. But let's just say that my upbringing made it really easy for me to identify and analyze danger quickly and accurately. So the person that I've been most afraid of is myself and my own negative thoughts. And the journey that I've been on has been really helping me to redirect my thought patterns and to not get stuck. And of course, I'm always going to get stuck because I'm human and I make mistakes. But at the same time, we always strive to be a better person than we were a moment ago or the next day or in this chapter of our lives. So that's what I'm trying to do. Let's see. Do you believe that there's a devil or a similar deity? Well, I believe that you believe what you believe in. And if you believe it's going to happen, it probably will, because most things are self-fulfilling prophecies. I'll give an example. Let's say you buy a brand new red car. You've never had a red car before. Now all of a sudden, you'll notice that as you're driving your new red car, you'll notice more of the same color cars that are like yours. You'll also notice the same maybe make and model of cars or ones that are similar to yours. And you're like, oh, where did all these vehicles come from? You just didn't notice them before because they weren't on your radar. So I think that the same is true for when we believe something. I honestly believe that the gods and goddesses, the things that we dream for and wish for, are just things that we pour our energy into. And the more people that pour their energy into it, the more it becomes reality. And the reason behind this is because, like I said, or I think I said, that most of my thought processes have to be based in science. And what we understand about science. And of course, science is literally, what's the word I'm looking for? A method. There's a scientific method. And things that hold up under the scientific method are the things that I believe in until someone tells me and shows me and proves to me under the scientific method, under testing and scrutiny, that these things seem to be what the reality or the basis of reality are. If you understand particle entanglement and understand that what I do here will affect something there. If you think about reality as a big giant swimming pool, that nothing exists other than the swimming pool and the water in it and the things that are in the water. So if I add you and me and a cup of tea and some Gatorade, eventually stuff that's on you and stuff that's on me are going to intermingle and get on each other. My cup of tea is going to slowly work its way over to you. Now it may be diluted, but it's still there. And it's still part of our reality. And because it's a closed system, everything in reality is just recycled. Everything that we have used to be something else. And now it's this, and then later it'll be something else. I think that one of the best things that I wrap my brain around for me is understanding the cycles of life, and we're all evolving every moment of every day. And we just need to try to be better than we were yesterday and cut ourselves some slack when we can't. And when we can, to deal with what's in front of us at that moment, knowing that you're trying your best. And then always apologize if you're an asshole, because we're all assholes sometimes. So cut yourself slack. That's my motto. But don't be an asshole. So let's see, what else do we have here? So to answer that question, if you believe in the devil, then the devil exists for you. If you believe in a similar deity, they exist for you. If you don't, like me, that you think that it's just a way to describe the nature of people and the nature of the universe, that not all things that seem like they're bad are bad, then it has no power over you. You get to choose what you believe. And if you decide you don't want to believe that anymore because it doesn't make sense to you anymore, you let it go. And you find something that you do believe in. I think that the only devils that exist are the ones inside of us and the ones that we decide to feed. There's an old, I don't know which tribe it was, but there's an old American Indian proverb or Native American proverb that states something along the lines of, there are two wolves that live inside of you. And the strongest one is the one you decide to feed. If you decide to feed the one that lives in joy, you'll feel more joyous. If you decide to feed the one that lives in pain, then you'll feel more pain. For me, it's easy to break down everything to a dualistic nature and then see where the gray overlaps in between. So I hope that answered the question. If not, then I'll try to answer it another way. Because being a Sagittarius, I'm very much about learning and understanding and just reaching higher. What is the best kind of crystal for a fire sign to wear and why? Well, mostly I don't really get into crystals. I never really had one really draw me in. I like shiny things, as you can see. But I don't know. I guess we would have to look into that. I'm really attracted to lapis lazuli or lazula. It's really pretty. I think a lot of them are pretty, but I just don't really use them. I did make some rune stones, and I harvested the stones from my home. We just recently bought this home. Thank the universe for all the work that we put in to do that. Um, and I just went around and then I cleaned them and ritualized. Well, not ritualized. I did a ritual, a couple of them, to clean them and to cleanse them. But they still have the energy of the home. I didn't use salt or anything. And got ones that were similar and looked nice and made some rune stones. So some people are into all a bunch of stuff, and some people don't really feel the need to do other things, and whatever calls to you, because I feel as if most of it, if not all of it, is just stage setting. It's just to get you in the mood. Going to Catholic church is incense and lights and music and singing and robes. It's all just a circus for us. And not in a trivial, maybe that's not the best word. It's all production. Music gets us in the mood. Sounds, it takes all of our senses. Our sight, our smell, our taste. All of these things usually get involved in worship. There's actually a part of the brain that's been discovered, and I don't know if that's been debunked. I'm pretty sure it's still fact, scientific fact that is, based on our understandings now, that there's a part of your brain just for God. Now you get to decide who that God is. Isn't that awesome? So don't let other people tell you how you should feel, what you should do, and what your life is about. Because if they do, then I don't think they really have your best interests at heart. People don't tell you how to live your life. They may be concerned for you if they think that you're doing something that they perceive to be dangerous. But at the same time, it's your life. And you are going to do what you want to do with it because it's yours. That's the great thing about it. It's your life. So, for my opinion, you do what you want. Just try not to hurt other people. And then, I think we have one more question. Let's see. If you could speak any other language, I can't even speak this one apparently. If you could speak any other language fluently, which would you choose and why? I actually really like languages. I think that they're interesting. I believe that the spoken word has power. Everything runs on a frequency. If you understand science, and I'm not saying any science, just basic science, then you should understand that sound waves affect matter. All matter affects matter. And that our thoughts literally affect matter. So I think languages are really interesting because they frame the way we think. So if I could learn any one language, I think it would be Spanish or German. Spanish probably though, for the simple fact that I know a little bit of Spanish, just enough to get me in trouble, and maybe order some food or find somewhere to sleep or the post office. And that would be part of the reason why. And the other is because it's a very popular language. I don't really think I'm going to go live in Iceland, which I'd love to do, but I don't think it'll happen. So there's really no sense in me learning one of the most difficult languages on the planet to learn as a second language. So it's pretty. I like it. I really like Romanian. I think it's sexy when a guy speaks Romanian sometimes. But that's one of the romantic languages, isn't it? So maybe that's why it's named that way. And I think that's it. So, okay, I'm pretty dynamic. I'm into a lot of stuff. And if I find it interesting, then I'll definitely look into it for you. So I will definitely look into the question about the crystal to see which one really draws me in. I've never really thought about it before. So, okay, I'll give it a go. This is episode of Extra Shady by me, Extra Shade, dubbed by my 17-year-old son because I am extra. And sometimes I can be a little shady. But can't we all? So, Remember to forgive yourself and others. Please have some patience. And maybe do a little soul searching and figure out what it is that you can bring to the world and be the change you want to see. Have a good day.